Hello and welcome, fellow Wasteland survivors. I'm Dean. Thanks for stopping in, hanging out with me. It's always a pleasure to see you. Now, in today's video, part 3 of Let's Build at Hangman's Alley, we're going to be working on this area behind this non-scrapable static building. And if you're like me, I've always thought this is an extremely huge waste of space. Normally we can't get too much back here. A few water purifiers, maybe some crops, a generator, things like that. But today we're going to see one of the ways that I build in this area, and hopefully the tips and tricks that we'll see in today's video will help inspire you to build something pretty cool yourself. Alright, enough jibber jabber, let's get the video started. To start the first part of today's build, we're on the second story, which is directly above our workbench. We're adding a few floors on to extend it out over top of this non-scrapable building. Once we've done that, this floor that we're standing on will actually set on the building, and we can move it around manually. What we're trying to do here is get it in a position where we can actually put an entire full floor right into the corner there between the two buildings. So we're just going to move this around a little bit and adjust it until we can get it lined up just right. Now, the reason that we're doing this is because we're preparing to put our elevator in. Now, there are two ways that you can do it. The way that we're doing it right now, and the second way is to place it directly down on the ground. But if you do that, it makes the first and second story of the elevator inaccessible. The non-scrapable building is in the way, and it's extremely hard, if not impossible, to build floors to it. Alright, we've adjusted it up pretty good. It looks alright, and I think that should do it. Now we'll go ahead and clear the floors away. We're going to leave one of them up. That's a snappable marker. Now we'll bring our 3-story elevator out, and we can snap it to it. And as you can see, it makes the first floor kind of hard to be accessible, but we're not really going to build anything off of it. It's just going to be more of the entrance. But because we lifted it up like we did, it makes the second story easy to build floors on and create another room or place to build. And even though it's not a full 2 floors away, one of the floors will snap into the metal prefab. Now, if you notice, we're not able to get a floor to snap in right here on this side. And the reason is because of that metal vent. We're never going to get anything to penetrate into that. We can get these floors to actually clip inside of the walls, but if there's some of those items, then they're just not going to go in. So what we need to do is we need to offset that floor in the opposite direction to help line it up to the edge of that wall. And we'll use half a concrete wall and a pillar to do it. By snapping them on here like this, we can actually move our floor in increments as thick as a concrete wall. So we'll move it over 2 and see if that's enough. Bring out a floor, and it should snap right in there fine. And it does. And as you can see, it's nice and right up against the edge. But don't worry about the back wall, because the buildings here are not fully straight. And we'll notice that throughout this entire video. But since we moved our floor over in the opposite direction, it is easy to clip another floor directly into the wall. And that gives us a full floor in between the two buildings. Alright, now we're ready to build the floor on our 3rd story. And we could actually build it the exact same way that we just did it on this floor. But since we've already got 2 of our floors in an offset position in between the buildings, the best way to do it is just to snap a barn wall to it and then snap a floor to the top of the barn wall. And we've pretty much got our floor in and ready to start building. Now, the thing to keep in mind here, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are almost out of the height of our build area. It's only 3 stories here at Hangman's Alley. And because of that, we would never be able to build roofs in. We lifted our elevator up off the ground about a half a story. Therefore, we're about a half a story above our build area. So the best thing to do is just to use a prefab. And you can actually use any prefab that you want, as long as it has a roof to it. Now, another thing to take note on is if we look down on the objects that we're wanting to snap and clip in, they will snap and clip easier than if you were looking at the whole object as you were putting it in. And you can see how I'm looking down at the floor and not really kind of up level with it. Also, we do have that ugly gap between the floor and the wall. Now, you could add in some walls if you wanted to, and as you can see, they would snap right in. But what we want to do here is actually add floors in and use the walls of the pre-existing buildings as our wall. Now, if you're trying to put these in and they're red, try spinning the floor around. Generally, that will take care of the issue and they'll snap right in there for you. Maybe they'll snap right in. There it goes. Alright, good job. And now we are actually using the building as our wall, and we didn't have to build any in there. Okay, now we're ready to put another prefab in front of our elevator. Now, we never could get a floor to actually snap in right there because there is a metal air duct located right beside the elevator. But a prefab will snap in there. And I think there's 2 reasons why. One, the prefab is actually up and above the build area. 2, the duct doesn't go all the way to the top of the ceiling or the roof of the prefab. Therefore, if we keep looking down and move around a little bit, we'll get it to snap right in and clip through that metal air duct. Now, we would like to put one more prefab right here, but these wires are going to hinder us from doing that. No matter what you try and how much you try to do group select, you'll never get another prefab in there. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to use one of the half-wall junky walls, I guess is what they're called, out of the wall section. And you could actually use any one of these that you would like. It just depends on the style that you want to build. You could do a full wall as the back, use the one that has the material as a drape, but the one that we're going to use has the open areas that you can look out. And of course it'll snap right in there because it's not reaching those wires. Now, because of the type of wall that we're going to use right here, it does create a pretty undesirable gap in this area. So, because of build order, we're going to take our build apart and snap a wooden wall in to help us cover that area up. It also creates kind of a pretty cool little walkway or entranceway into that part of the build. We'll bring our prefabs back, and looking down at the floor, it'll snap right back in there nice and easy and clip through that metal air duct. We'll go get our shack wall and roof out that we were using, and we'll go ahead and put that back in. I thought maybe I might use something different, but you know what the hell, let's just go ahead and put back in what we'd already used to begin with. Now at this point there's quite a bit you could actually do up here. You could add on more floors and make like a balcony or a barbecue station or whatever. But I think what we'll do is just kind of cover this end over on our shack wall and roof, and then I think we'll use a couple of the curved concrete floors and make a little sit-out balcony there. Back down on the second floor, we'll add a few more of these half barn floors in. That way we can use the pre-existing buildings as our walls just like we did up on top. But we do have this little bit of a gap right here, and I'm just not liking that. So let's get it fixed. What we'll do is we're going to snap in a concrete foundation. Then we're going to use 2 of these barn walls that are red that you use to snap the big barn doors on and make a corner. And then we can group select it, bring it over, and place it in. Now the reason we're using the concrete floor is so that we can sink our concrete pillar down into it. Because of that, it makes it extremely easy and simple to put these walls in, and it blends in nicely. It almost kind of even matches up with the red of the brick of the pre-existing building. Now we could put in a wall or whatever you wanted to here. I chose to do a railing. So we'll just go ahead and snap that guy on there, and now we'll replace our floor, and we'll have a pretty cool little look right there. Alright, once we've done that, we'll need to repeat it on the other side. But since our floors are offset, we'll need to snap our railing to the floor that's connected to the elevator. So we'll take this floor out, and I did check to make sure it would snap back in before I took it out. That's a pro tip. Always check to make sure you can get the piece back in before you do any modifications. And then we'll look back down at the floor, move around a little bit, and there it goes. Snaps right back in. Now we have a pretty cool little look here, and the pre-existing buildings are our walls, just like they are up on the 3rd story. Alright, down on the ground level, what we're going to do here is use a couple of these concrete foundations, and we're going to manually line it up to this wall that's beside our workbench the best we can. And that looks pretty good, but what I don't like about it is it is fairly high in the air, and I would like it a little lower. There's a pile of junk in the back, and because of that, that's as far down as we can actually push it. So what we'll do is snap a quarter floor onto it. We'll use a concrete pillar, group select it, and then we can move our quarter floor down as far as we want. What we're going to do is create a snap point for this foundation to snap onto. And because of that, we can get it a little bit lower and down into this little junk pile right there. Next thing, we can just add another concrete foundation on, and basically the floor down here is done. It's that quick. We could add more pieces on behind it up to the wall, but we're going to have some Nuka-Cola mixing stations, and you would never see that anyways. Alright, now we need to make a way to get up to our elevator. This is the best way that I've discovered to be able to do it. First thing, put on a concrete corner or quarter floor, and then use the curved floor, and you might need to move around in several different places or positions, but if you work with this for a second, you will get it to snap. And there you go, we can see that snapped right in, and that gives us a pretty cool little floor entrance into our elevator. Now we can just choose a stair of our choice, snap it on, and we now have easy access to our elevator from the bottom floor. Now we can add on a few more railings, put another ladder up, and we've got a pretty cool little start to our build. From this point on, ladies and gentlemen, you can just pretty much decorate this the way that you would like. Also, keep this in mind. If you like settlers here, this is a great area to put a lot of living quarters or beds. And you could literally stack, if you did bunk beds, probably about 16 to 18 beds in that area. And it leaves all of the rest of Hangman's Alley wide open. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today's video. But here's a little sample of what the next video is going to be. Since we've been collecting quite a few awesome legendaries on this playthrough, I thought we'd make Hangman's Alley kind of a display area for all the cool things I've been collecting. So in our next video, we're going to make this really awesome gun display area. And it'll also be the start to our electrical part of this series. So I hope I see you all then. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for stopping in, hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it. And just like always, until next time, please stay safe and peace.